Looking forward to get started. I know that it's tough out there right now. I know your employees are scared. I know everybody's scared, but hopefully, what we can go over today is going to be helpful and productive, and keep us working hard in a direction that takes us where we want to come out on the other end of this in a very positive way. Um, to be the people that have helped in this situation rather than the ones that are out there causing havoc, because there's lots of people out there causing havoc, and our community definitely needs our leadership for sure, both with our employees and the people in our community. So, and we are recording this, so we will be sending it out. So if you want to review it with your other employees, um, that will be available to you. Steve Brown's on. If you haven't put up in the chat that you're here, I'd like to know you're joining in, and let us know. Right. Justin, Mark's there too. Keely says, hey. Great. Okay, so we're going to get started, and just want to welcome everybody. Really appreciate you taking the time to come on. Just want to give you some insights as to what I'm hearing. One of the benefits I have is to work with working with so many people is to see what a large group of people are doing. And with that, I'm able to kind of see some best practices, and I want to go ahead and share those. If you're members with us, you've seen that we put out something in February. It was, towards the end of February, so we're looking at, 3 weeks ago or whatever. But to put out, how to prepare for this, and it's things are changing constantly. Things are progressing. And they're going to continue to change. So we're going to do this again, changing that rapidly, and we will record it and put it out as well then. Brittany's going to manage the chat for me, so if there's questions or anything that comes in, Brittany, just unmute yourself. Can you actually test that, Brittany? Unmute yourself and say hello to everybody. So if you have a question, to put it in the chat, and Brittany will relay the question to me. Can you hear me? You there? Yes, I can hear you. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, so Brittany's going to manage the chat, and we'll move forward from there. Let's see. Yep. Fantastic. So we want you to be prepared, and so some of the stuff we'll go over, and it may be review from the report that I sent, but I also want to make sure that anybody who hasn't gone over the report is getting the feedback and information they need. A lot of the things that are happening with insurance is we're asking people to check on the business interruption insurance, and a lot of times what we're hearing is that we need to have a rider that says that it covers infectious disease. I do want to encourage everybody, and that is true for a lot, and a lot of people don't have that rider policy on their business interruption insurance. But continue to check on it, because the government is changing the criteria a lot, and it could be that you're covered on a national disaster, and as the government goes through and declares national disasters in certain areas, it could change the fact that if you're covered or not. So don't just disregard it, or just because somebody said that you're not covered, to not revisit it and see that it's changed. Definitely is worth a conversation with your agent to know where you're at with all this. We're going to cover some other federal aid stuff that may be helpful in lieu of insurance, but definitely make sure you're following up and check on your insurance. We want to be doing everything. We want to be doing everything we can to reduce the spread in our own in our own environments. So we're going to make sure that we have that we're watching out for our staff. If anybody's sick, do not hesitate to send them home. Even I had somebody come in. Had a little cough. They said they went to the doctor. Doctor said they were fine. Just as an abundance of caution. Sent her home, because there's no reason for unnecessary risk. So it's definitely something that you need to be diligent about, and communicate that you're being diligent in your social media and emails. Communicate to your community that you're taking the steps to protect them. Give them confidence in you, that you're doing everything in your power. I've experienced some things just as a consumer as well, where I went in and we ordered some takeout, and there was this bottle by the host stand, and I said, "Hey, is that hand sanitizer?" And the hostess was like, I don't know, actually. And it was like, for me, it did not give me confidence as a consumer that that they were being trained and taught to do everything that they needed to do to protect the community. So give the public confidence, train your people, make sure they're sanitizing, making sure you have wipes, and making sure that you're covering those things. 3 weeks ago, I asked you to plan for a limited menu, and we are in the midst of that, where we have to have a limited menu that lets us still serve the guests. Cut things out. 3 weeks ago in the report, I said to be checking your supply line to make sure that your vendors, what are my vendors going to be able to supply? What can I still order? What can I still get? And we'll be able to still get, so that I'm not having to change my menu, halfway into putting it out. So communicate with your supply chain. Also, communicate with your supply chain that they are taking the appropriate cautions, that making sure that they don't have employees that are sick, that they don't have anybody that is. See, we got some. There's Dollar. Hey, Dollar. So make sure that your vendors are going to continue to supply the things that you're putting on these modified menus, so that when you're doing only takeout, because we're getting to that point to where, even if you're in a state where it's allowed for you to have guests in your store, we're getting to where I think in the next few days that the entire country is going to be in a place where it's going to be only takeout and delivery. So make sure that you have the modified menus and you're able to do that. If you have multiple locations, make sure that you may be able to still produce and do delivery out of one kitchen. It depends on geography, but make sure you consider that. I know that with my brother's restaurants in San Diego's, that we've advised him to actually do a couple of the concepts in one store to reduce labor and to be able to serve the community at large, because the restaurants are in such close proximity. And so if you're able to do that with multiple locations, definitely make sure that you consider doing that. Reduce transmission among staff. If anybody has health complications, keep them at home. Make sure that they're quarantined. This virus can have a greater effect on somebody that has compromised immune system. So make sure that we're extra diligent with that. Be flexible with your employees on sick leave. Do not make anybody come in that doesn't want to come in if they're uncomfortable. You're going to have people that want to come in, and make sure that if there's sick family members, that they're communicating that to you, and give your managers the ability to make those decisions on sending people home. Give them the authority to do their job to protect the public, and make sure that they are making those decisions. A fever is anything over 100.4 degrees. I got this from the CDC site, and so we want to really watch that and make sure that that if anybody is fever free for a minimum of 24 hours before coming into work, and just doing an abundance of caution when it comes to that. If they're having to care for sick family members, make sure that you're allowing it and making sure they're communicating that, and making sure that they're probably staying home as well from that. If someone becomes sick during the day, make sure you send them home immediately. Here are some links. I'm going to send this out as a PDF so that you have all these links. These links were in the report that I already sent out a few weeks ago, but it's a directory of, and it's live updates where you can hone in on your local health department through these links and get your local guidelines. This second one is pre-done posters that will allow you to make them visible for your guests to know that you're taking all the precautions necessary in your store. And then you're educating and training your staff on the proper precautions to protect not only your staff, but protect the public from the spread of any of diseases. These are times where your leadership is so important. Know that your team is going to be looking to you. They're going to be looking, and they're going to be reacting the way that you react. So understand that you're being watched, and really try to have a strong, confident front. Be strong in your decision making, and give them some comfort to know that they're under good leadership. To have that that comfort and support is important in a time like this. And I know, as entrepreneurs, just because you're an entrepreneur, restaurateur, doesn't automatically make you a leader. So make sure that you're actively taking those steps to lead well. And a couple ways to do that is to make sure that you're focusing on others rather than yourself. Focus on your employees. Focus on taking care of them. Focus on how they can take care of each other, and focus on how you can take care of the community. Put everything outward, and be thinking of how you can serve your community well. In both how we can, if there's steps that we can take to serve the elderly, serve kids. We're going to talk a little bit more about that stuff. Having that attitude of service. And listen, ask questions, listen more than you speak, especially when somebody's communicating some concern to them. And ask your team to be creative with ideas. We're going to ask you to share some ideas that you've had at the end. Anything that I didn't cover, the whole point of us getting together is that we are it's not really just to listen to me speak, but to know that we're stronger as a group. And so know that I'm going to cover points that I've seen, and at the end, we're going to ask you to share what has been successful for you, that mastermind principle that we're all smarter as a group rather than any one individual. It's not about how far we advance ourselves, but how far we advance others. So this is a picture from our wall here. We have these core values that we want to speak to, and one day I just took a big marker and wrote over the top of them that it doesn't mean that all those other things don't matter, but there's one guiding principle that we all need to rally behind here, and it's the same in your stores. The better we can serve people, the better impact we will have, and the more we can advance others will actually lead to our own advancement. But we have to put our effort into others first. We are naturally selfish human beings. I think we're seeing that a lot in other people as the hoarding and things are going on. Know that all the hoarding of supermarkets is going to make it to where you're going to be a necessity for people to be able to feed themselves and feed their children and feed their families. So we need to be available for it. As the store shelves get emptied out by people panicking, they are going to need to turn to us in the restaurant community to serve them well, and to make sure that we're able to do it efficiently and able to do it in a safe way that is putting them first. Make sure that your employees are aware of all these steps that we're taking. Make sure that they feel that they are doing their civic duty, that they are participating in something that's bigger than themselves individually. Make sure that they know the impact that they could be having on people's lives, and what it means to the spiritual thing, and what it means to feed people, to connect them to that experience, that it's not just a meal that we're serving, but it's a lifeline, especially in the time that we have now. It's what people are going to, they communicate over a meal, they give food and love on one another through a meal, and to be able to provide that in these times in a safe, confident way is going to be something that people will never forget long after. And so we want to make our social contribution and really serve our communities well as we're going through this. And providing them with meals is a big way that we're going to be able to do that. Add value to people's lives through the services that you provide them. There will be an increase in employee absenteeism. You need to be able to plan for less employees. That's kind of it's one of those things where it's happening no matter what. We're going to have to do less, and so some of the federal aid and taking care, unemployment, sick leave, that's going to be provided for people through federal aid is going to be important. You may simply lose staff not because of illness, but because of the schools being closed. Schools are going to be closed. I'm not even sure if they're all over the country, but pretty much most of the country, schools are closed, at least for the next couple of weeks, some towards the end of April. So that's the important thing. And maybe, as it comes down to it, if there's scarce resources, that you may even have to prioritize some of your regular guests and making sure that you're serving them well. So people that are in your rewards program, communicate them, give them the first dibs, to making sure that we're not just thinking about only ready-made meals, meaning that freshly prepared hot meal that we're serving and is getting picked up, but can we provide 3, 4, 5 days of meals as we're meal prepping for them and giving them cold options, things that they can reheat at home. Be thinking of ways that you can serve them by providing meals in that way. Can be a really big way to really help and serve the community. So be thinking of things that you can be preparing in bulk and providing people with those. And those are going to be things where you choose the menu. It's not going to be this whole big menu of things. It's like, hey, here's 3 days of provisions, with some breakfast things and some different things. You're gonna have to be getting with your vendors and knowing what you have available, but different meal periods, and using your system to cost this out. So not only it's important that you're profitable, you have we do want to be serving the community, and they may have programs where, hey, it's going to be one of the things that my brother's doing in San Diego is for $5 is feeding anybody that's in the restaurant industry. That may be that they're definitely suffering because of a loss of income, and to try to hey, it's as bad anyways, we might as well try to do something to serve that. So whatever you can do to serve your community, it could be I don't know if Peter Scalfani's been able to make it on. One of the things that he's doing is found a way to have a donor has come in. So there's other people in the community that have lots of resources and they want to help. They may not be able to help the way that we are in our restaurants. And so one of the things that Peter Sclafani has had is a donor that's bought 5,000 meals for kids that they'll provide, right? So they'll be able to come in and get meals, and this local donor has about 5,000 meals for kids that aren't in school and to make sure that they're getting a meal. And Peter's using his kitchens to provide these meals, and so it's a way to supplement the revenue but still care for people. Use your recipe costing cards, though. You still have to be able to pay your employees and muddle through this mess. I'm not saying take advantage of anybody, but you have to know what things are costing you so that you can be responsible. Remember the analogy of the airline emergency talk before, so if you're with a child and you're on a flight and they're given the talk and it says the oxygen mask come down, one of the things that you have to do is you put the oxygen mask on yourself before the child. It seems counterintuitive that I have to be selfless and I have to take care of the child first, but if you don't take care of yourself first, you won't be available and there to take care of the child. So I feel like it's the same sort of analogy or comparison for you and your communities, that you have to take care of your staff and your employees so that they can take care of the community. And it's not a selfish act at all to do that. Make sure you have people cleaning every day, and make sure that you're communicating these in emails and social media in every aspect that you can, so that the public knows that you're taking the proper steps. Have somebody opening the doors, put napkins out, wipe and sanitize menus constantly, hand sanitizer everywhere. This is for the people that are still open and having guests in, so that we're taking it. A lot of us are not even able to have anybody in our restaurants. If you're still open to have guests in, use single serve salt and pepper, use condiment packets instead of bottles. Don't preset silverware, bring it out so that it stays sanitized and there's no chance for contamination. And a lot of them they're 50% to where they're actually asking restaurants to remove tables so that there can be a 6 feet distance in between. That's pretty difficult to measure and take, just to make sure you're responsible in it. I do have people that have been reaching out. If we're promoting takeout, there's this link right here. We'll provide you with this graphic arts provided by Promotable Media, Jeremy Wells. He was kind enough to make these graphics, and you can customize them, put your logos on them, and use them. He's giving it to you. This is a Dropbox link, and you can download all of these graphics and use them to promote your delivery and help you to serve your community well. So those are really important things to be putting out there. And sometimes, just having this graphic artist is a graphic art here to be able to use it is very generous. Offer the touchless delivery option. It instills confidence in your guests that they are going to be safe to order from you. Hey, think beyond just made to order food, but what can we do? Can we give them 3, 4, 5 days? This is Sandy Coram, and these are some steps and delivery guidelines that she's put out that she said that you can take and share and copy for your own places. A lot of people are going to be wanting that touchless delivery service where there's no interaction, they prepay, and they leave an ice chest outside their door, and their pre-made meals are being left in the ice chest. So there's some things that are pretty things, like right here, the last one, your credit card will be charged even if your order is not delivered because you did not leave the ice chest by your front door. So it's asking people to take their own responsibility in this in this touchless delivery. This is not out of greed that your card will be charged. It will be charged out of fairness to all of placed orders with our company. Some may be turned down due to demand. It is your responsibility to leave an ice chest by your door on the day of delivery. Too. It looks like we might have some questions coming up on that. Let's see. Yes, we're going to send this PDF out so that you can click these links and that you can have these downloads. And then I have actually this PDF which we'll send afterwards as well. We'll post it on our social media too. We just want people to have it and know that it's there. Protect the communities. And then you can also plan labor well and plan your ordering, and by having people order 24 hours in advance. It just will reduce the chaos, reduce any sort of scarcity and arguing over, who gets what orders are there, and allow pickup too. So I think it's a really good way to reduce it. Sandy's saying here there's a $15 delivery fee and a $50 minimum order. And she's putting out different menus, different days, and giving out multiple days worth of food. And I advise everybody to do that. Even if you handwrite it out on a piece of paper and take a picture of it. Move quickly. Don't worry about being perfect with all this stuff. But the faster you click, the better you're going to be able to serve the community. I still always recommend that you're getting your recipe costing done on these things as well, so that you know how it's affecting your business. It's a really important aspect of this. There is federal aid. So it's the Coronavirus Response Act that's gone to Congress. The House has approved it. And wants to provide federal support for employees to offer paid leave. It didn't go. I think it was stopped in the Senate, and because it wasn't good enough, it wasn't a strong enough bill. This bill was enacted towards the beginning, or starting to be written towards the beginning of March, and the situation from the beginning of March to where it is now is different. So it's going to be rewritten and put before the Senate to be voted on today, and it is there to address these substantial challenges that restaurants are facing, and frankly, small businesses everywhere. And so there is some plans for help. I know that back in the 2008 crisis, that there was the auto industry bailout because they were essentially too big to fail. Well, let me tell you what, if there's an industry that's too big to fail, it's the second largest employer next to the government is the restaurant industry. And the restaurant industry is too big to fail. And it has to continue. It has to be able to serve the public. It has to be able to keep our economy going. If the second largest employer is basically has the industry that's completely shut down, there's some massive implications to our economy. And so if there's ever an industry that's too big to fail, it's the restaurant industry. And it looks, and I'm pleased to see that there's that it's being addressed. This is directly from the bill. So in the bill that we're asking for, and so here's a link that I want you to follow, and it's going to tell you, hey, I want my senator to vote on this. I want my senator to vote yes. Forget party lines. We need to be the take care of the restaurant industry. And so here is a link that will take you to this page that will let your voice be heard there. So in the bill that we're at, paid leave benefits, a program to provide payments to employees taking unpaid leave due to the coronavirus outbreak, expand unemployment benefits and provide grants to the states for processing and paying claims, require employees to provide sick leave to pay there. So they're requiring that, but with reimbursements. And so a lot of it's to be where they require it, but then there's to be a direct tax benefit, which provides some interesting problems for a lot of times cash-strapped restaurant industry. So there's some other lending and working capital that may be used, knowing that it could be just a bridge loan to get you through this and get it back in tax credits the following year. So medical aid to be covered, but to really take care of our people. We really don't want our people to be suffering through this. Especially, there's enough going on medically and worrying about our families. The financial part of this is even bigger than that. So, for federal aid. Suggestions is assisting businesses to defer mortgage and lease obligations. What we want you to do, though, is with your leases to already be proactively or to stay ahead of it and contact your landlords. Talk to your landlords about changing your lease the next 3 months to add on, change your lease to where you don't pay for these 3 months, but I'm adding 3 extra months onto the back of my lease. Start those negotiations now. There could be relief for landlords as well. And so we want to basically want to communicate and manage our cash flow so that we can continue to serve the public. And so those are going to be really important things. So different grants that are allowed. I have a grant, I guess Facebook just put out that there's going to be $100 million in grants to small business. I have a link to that article and how you can apply for that grant. So there's talk of delaying the tax deadlines so that our taxes are not going to be due come April 15th, to move those tax obligations back. And so lots of things going on, and we're going to keep you up to date. We'll keep you up to date on our Facebook page. This bill should be going through the Senate today. So here is a link. And this is a link that you need to monitor. And we sent the email out yesterday regarding some working capital. What's happening is this link for the SBA regarding a disaster loan is up there. And what is going to be true for a lot of you is some of you are going to show that you are going to qualify for a disaster SBA loan through this link. You'll see that you're qualified for it. If it's not there yet, it's likely coming. However, if you're not yet, that's moving, that SBA and all this will move at the speed of government, right? And so we all know that speed is extremely slow. So with that being said, there will be relief, with the Fed lowered interest rates. There's going to be money available to inject into the economy. However, it may take some time. If you are in need of working capital, I do have a restaurant-friendly vetted lender that I can put you in contact with. So just email me at fred@restaurantsystemspro.net, and I will make the introduction, and they can help you out. They focus on lending to small businesses, but mainly restaurants, and they can defer payments. They have some loan packages where you don't pay for, it's called their seasonal loan, and they make it to where you don't have to pay for 3 months and then start payments later on. And it can help you bridge the gap to these SBA disaster loans that may be a lower interest rate. I think it's going to be a little bit higher interest rate, 10 to 15%, which is super high, but it's not like your credit card advance companies. Debt is one of those things. I don't want to be sitting here promoting debt. I'm just looking for if it's a last chance solution for your restaurant, and it's something that you may need. Then I want to give you the best options available that you can get done the fastest. So that's really important. Something I've learned from our members is that if you have an SBA loan now and you contact your lender, that you can get a 3-month reprieve from your SBA payments, and they just kind of move those payments to the back of the loan. And so make sure that you're doing that. This is the link for the it's the Facebook, $100 million available for small businesses that they're putting out there. So definitely want to check out that link. We'll send this out, this PowerPoint out right away. In fact, maybe I can put that link. Maybe I can put some of these links directly into the chat. Let's see. All right. So yeah, we got this. Let's see. Some of the links. Brittany, if you could do that, maybe if you, oh, you probably can't. So here's also this link here. We're going to want to, this is the link that I want you to watch. This is the one that's going to let you know if you're eligible for the disaster SBA loan. So when we look at the eligible disaster areas, California, Washington, Idaho, Oregon, Maine, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New York, and Rhode Island are all of the states that have been declared disaster areas because of the coronavirus. So that this page is here, and you can be able to monitor that and follow it. So like I said, this isn't available to everybody yet, and so you may want to explore the option I have. As you are dealing with this, these problems and challenges, you may have managers that maybe have a little bit more time on their hands and they're still getting paid. Brittany is going to be announcing later today at 2 webinars daily that are going to cover aspects of Restaurant Systems Pro that managers can be using their time to, one, stay active, stay productive, stay busy during this tough time, and get some work done that you haven't had time to get done, to refine those recipes, to make sure those inventories are set up properly, to do some work from home and learn and get better, to get those checklists in place, to work on the training systems, to make sure that we have our manager log set up the way we want. There's so much that you can work on to make scheduling templates, to get employees' pictures uploaded, there's so much that can be done in the system. And so for all of our customers, Brittany's going to be putting on a couple of these every day. And so we'll get those schedules out so that we can keep everybody busy and active and in a positive mindset, productive mindset from there. So from here, I want you to know that you can contact us. Those are some best practices I have. I want to talk about like what Peter did with having a donor, helping the schools, however you can get out and help your community, however you can get out to be a leader in your community, to not just do it for selfish reasons, but know that when you go out and do it, it will help you in the future with your relationship, to make some deposits emotionally and by being active in the community. So I covered some things here, but like I said, we're smarter as a group. And so I would like to open it up. Does this tax relief, does it include payroll taxes and quarterly taxes? There's nothing yet. So like I said, the bill, Geraldine has the question, the bill is going to be coming out today. They're supposed to vote on it today. Once they vote on it, all the details of the bill will come out. I am hoping that that's the case, that it is, both state sales tax delays and payments, payroll delays and payments, and then the quarterly payments. All of those taxes, I'm hoping for a reprieve. The thing to understand, though, is it's doubtful immediately, and I don't have all the answers, that those will go away. So as much as we can hang on to that and just use it for cash flow, if they allow delay in payments, delay in payment doesn't mean it's going away. So let's see. In most of Canada, restaurants were ordained to close. you are in need. So we are a business too, and what we are working on is the same thing. That if you have to close, we want to leave your systems open. We're not going to shut anybody's systems off at this point. There's no way that we would shut anybody's systems off. But if you're forced to close and you've lost all revenue, then to work on something where we give you the reprieve from your membership on that. As I say that, know that we're a business as well, and so those of you that are able, we ask you to continue to continue to support us as well as we go through this. But yeah, Norman, definitely, we're going to make sure that we take care of you as well. And like I said, we will not be shutting off any systems during this time. Good question. There's also, we're providing bookkeeping services for people. So that's the thing too, where we've had, hey, can we put a pause on our bookkeeping services? And that's the thing where I said, well, if we're still operating and then, yes, paying is going to be hard, but we'll actually amortize the payments, because I don't want to stop our bookkeeping, because then you just have to get caught back up. It doesn't make the 2 months of bookkeeping go away. And so when it comes to the bookkeeping services, to be, hey, we may pause the payments and then amortize them over the next year or so, so that we're working with you on making sure that we're able to keep all of our staff employed, all of our staff working and serving you well from there. Any comments or questions? Go to the chat if you have any suggestions, things. Brittany, if you can unmute yourself, are we able to let anybody actually speak in this mode, or do we just have to have them go into the chat?
So what you need to do is they either need to crawl in or join computer mode and then unmute themselves, and they can go ahead and talk.
Okay, so if anybody wants to, if anybody wants to raise their hand or say, I can do allow to talk. So even if you're called in or on your computer, then I can allow you to share. If there's things that you think that you want to share with the group that I've missed, something that you're doing that you think that I didn't cover well enough. Like I said, we're better as a group than any one person. So I'd love to hear from you at this time. Let's see. Yeah, anybody raising their hand at this point that wants to add their 2 cents? So we're going to keep everybody up to date. We're going to be watching the bill that's going through Congress to see what's there. We're going to be giving you the contacts for short-term working capital solutions. We're going to provide training so that managers can keep their minds sharp and going. So here's Peter. What are people who have to close dine-in service doing about their employees? Only option I can see is to let them collect unemployment too. That's kind of where I'm at there too. I know that there's expanded unemployment that's part of this bill that's going through. And so if anybody has any other ideas to help our employees, I know that some suggestions are too, is like, hey, if we're moving, to try to keep some of our front of house employees. And so this is going to be, I'm going to advise you to ask your insurance if you're covered, but then do that delivery option and keep your employees working by doing deliveries. So if they're doing deliveries and you're able to help supplement their income by giving them a delivery fee, I saw members that are doing a $3 delivery charge per delivery. If it's on larger orders, maybe a larger delivery fee that can go to, or at least partially go, some maybe to pay for some of the paper goods that you're using for these to-go deliveries, but then also supplementing the income of our employees to at least try to keep them going. Let's see. Kurt, we have not been required to close yet here in Orlando. Social media has been difficult to deal with, and negative comments for being open. Any suggestions? I think that you're going to put out there that, hey, there's a larger community that needs you. So that's a really great question, Kurt. The larger community needs you, that you are taking the appropriate actions and serving your community in a responsible way. The people have the right to not visit your establishment, but at the same time, as the store's shelves have been emptied, there's people that are going to be relying on you to serve them well. It's not just about you going out and making money. There's people that are going to need food, and there's going to be no other way to get it. I mean, if you see what happened to the grocery shelves this weekend, it's just the snowball effect of the initial panic is leading to more panic for the people that were late to the game and didn't get any groceries. Now they're going to be the ones panicking and over purchasing, and the grocery stores are trying to manage that. But you have a responsibility to your communities, and that's what I think you're going to be communicating to your guests. Some people are going to disagree. When you're a leader in the community, you're going to get some pushback, but it's definitely something that that I firmly believe that you need to be there to serve people well and serve your community, and know that they are going to need you, both for a reprieve from the stress of the day and to simply nourish themselves. And that's going to be really important. Hopefully I answered that well. So Josh has a question. If you have ingredients in stock that won't be on your limited menu offer, to sell them to customers at cost, customers will appreciate the lower price for groceries. I think that's a great idea. The other thing with that, Josh, is maybe making it a mandatory. I know that Sandy with Festive Kitchen is doing this, to where she's actually allowing her employees to take groceries home from the supplies that she's buying through her suppliers, but then also doing family meals, meaning employee meals that feed your customers to keep them nourished and to keep them from having to make excessive trips out into the public, and keep them healthy, and to know that you're going to and Josh, at least even if you're just replacing the dollar of those items that you're not going to be using, dollar for dollar, not even making money, but at least converting your inventory to cash is huge. So Kelly says here, if we sell ready to cook food, is there a change in regulations? Is there an easy place to see it? No, I doubt at this time there's going to be a change in regulations. I don't even know how they would keep up with it. I think it's up to you to be responsible, and I think that's where making them have an ice chest. So if you're going to do a drop-off delivery and the no-touch delivery, that you're saying, hey, I will only drop these things off in an ice chest. I'm not going to leave them at your door so that it could spoil, and then that comes back to me. I would only leave them in the ice chest and not deliver it any other way, and know that you're going to need to do the same thing when delivering the food. So make sure that you're producing ice, using ice, keeping food cold in delivery and transit. So cold food cold, hot food hot, as you take that out. Recommendations for hourly wage employees. So our tipped employees, to give them, if they are going to be switching to delivery, to make them to encourage gratuities for pickups, encourage gratuities for the deliveries, and then give them all or a portion of the delivery fee that you're adding on to the orders to supplement their income, are my suggestions. Kelly, do we know if there's a specific phrase that may actually be covered from our business interruption service? I think that one of the things that's happening with the business interruption services is that pandemics and viruses and sickness are not included. I think that what we're looking for is when the government mandates it, it becomes a overall disaster. And that's what you're looking for in your wording. I don't think any virus, pandemic, sickness, none of that is going to be, from what I'm looking at, none of that's going to be covered in your insurance for business interruption. It's going to be that the government mandated shutdown is where your insurance may be able to kick in. And hopefully Congress addresses that issue when it comes down to it. Any restaurants going to a standard wage for back of house and front of house during this time? Is that fair or legal? So when it comes to legalities with that, is that you can't, for most states right now, the legalities is that you cannot force a tip out from a front of house employee to a back of house employee, because they have power over that. You can't force it to a manager either. So it could be, this could be a really good time, and Kurt, you're sparking an idea here. It could be a time that you actually just pull all the tips, because pooled tips to take care of back of house, reduced hours, and the front of house wages. You'd probably, if you're a tip credit state, you'd probably have to address that. If I'm going to go, maybe if you're a tip credit state, that a larger amount is going to go to your front of house employees to get them up to minimum wage. And so that's something to address, but I do not disagree that it's a bad idea to do a tip pool to take care of all employees too. As far as being fair or legal, I'm not an attorney, but that's kind of where we're at with that. Sacred Table says SBA does have disaster relief program in place. Go to their website and see if your state or county has been placed on it. Yeah, so we showed that link. Hopefully, and I'm provided the link so that you can monitor if you are in the disaster relief, and also talk to your lender about the 3-month reprieve of payments. So that is being offered. I don't think it's going to be offered unless you ask for it. So contact your lender, and the SBA backed loans are looking to get. I know that Justin shared that from Fork and a Fork, that he was able to contact his lender and get the reprieve for 3 months on the SBA payment. Justin, I don't know if you have anything to add to that, if you're still here with that process. Either in the chat or raise your hand, and I can make you available to talk.
Jamie has a question on chat.
Jamie, so Justin says it was super easy just to have them answer a few questions and how it will be impacted. So Jamie has I don't see a question from Jamie. Go ahead, Brittany. What is the question?
His question is, in New York, we are open for takeout. For now, minimum staffing, you just have salaried managers. Depending on sales, we won't be able to afford their full salary. If also this lasts for longer than 2 weeks, I feel like I have to furlough my managers and have some front of house work and handling the packaging of takeout. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so this is where the unemployment and this package to make unemployment easier for your employees. It's just a reality of the situation. If you only have takeout, you're only operating a kitchen. It's just the unfortunate reality. And this is that tough, where you're in this leadership position and you have to make tough decisions for the greater good of everybody. And you need your restaurant to still be there for them after we get through this. So, one of the things for goodwill, if I'm not able to employ my staff, maybe I can at least feed them. Maybe I can at least provide meals for them, do something that's going to be extending a hand and knowing that, hey, I'm not just trying to abandon you or walk away. I'm trying to take care of the greater good so that our restaurant makes it through this really difficult time, and let them know that you care about them. And so maybe, if we're not able to keep everybody employed, and that's just the unfortunate reality of it, but if we're not able to keep everybody employed, then maybe we can at least feed them a meal, and provide them some food. So Brooke, any ideas on what we should be asking for? I've never been through an SBA disaster cycle before. Are the requirements as strict and the standard lending, or is it easier? So from what I know, it should be easier than the standard SBA, especially with the government funds that are out there, that there should be less restrictions, and also feedback. Before I start the application, it seems insane to even wrap my head around without knowing the length of the shutdown. Yeah, that's really good. So I would begin the application and at least get it started, and then as you go from there, if you need help trying to determine how much you need, make sure you have a conversation with us, because we can actually use our budgeting software to say, hey, here's the situation. What if we lose 25% of our sales? What could happen if we get a reprieve on rent? If we, utilities are decreased? If all these different things happen in our budget, how can we specifically plan for how much money we're going to actually need to weather the storm? and that's something that we can help you with in looking at our projections and stuff. So just going to send me an email and we'll take a look at your budgets and where we're at with them, and making sure that we can plan for your for the limited production that you're going to be going through, and what sort of working capital you're going to need in a responsible way, so that it doesn't bury your business too. So yes, there's lots of uncertainty. I would say that at least starting the process and getting those things taken care of. Kurt says, we are encouraging our customers to buy gift certificates for first responders, community service, and those in need in the neighborhood. No better time to help others and be a part of the solution and goodwill to others. Excellent idea. Even gift cards for themselves, gift cards in any way, I think that's huge. So definitely, if you can have your online gift cards set up, that's even better. I know that if you, Gino Scalfani has a contact that could help you. If you're not set up to do online gift card purchases, Gino has a contact that may be able to help you set that up with the whole Shopify, shopping cart and online portal to send people to buy gift cards online. And so that's a wonderful wonderful input there, Kurt. Thank you on that. Justice says they're considering a pop-up barbecue locations in different areas in their community where they can make it easier to get food and avoid crowds. I think definitely if you have that food truck, man, this is a great time to be using that and go to different areas so that people can pick up, advertise that on social media like crazy, go live. When you go do a Facebook Live, anybody that follows you gets that notification. So make sure you're doing a Facebook Live because the notifications go to everybody that follows you whenever you go live. And so use that to say, hey, we're going to this location. Even if it's one of the things that's happening with, Ralph Lewis is they have a steakhouse, but they're doing barbecue, and they have their barbecue, their trailers out, and they're smoking in the parking lot. And really getting that out there. I know that the Links had done a thing where they did, hey, the profits for today's sales are going to help our employees out in this situation. And so promoting that on social media and getting that there. So Thursday will be new announcements. So there's things that are changing, so it'll probably be quicker. I'll go through, there'll be people that weren't able to be on today's that'll want to be on Thursdays. We are going to send the recording out, and so I won't cover all the things that I covered at the beginning, but new things that are coming out. We're going to try to keep our page, our Facebook page open, our Instagram page, announcing all these things, and any new information that we have, we'll be announcing. And then just another chance to kind of get together and share what's working well for other people. There's lots of great ideas. There's lots of very creative entrepreneurs that are doing great things in their communities, and the more we can share what's happening out there, the more that we can all benefit from it as a group. So it'll be a matter of sharing new ideas and things. Things are changing very rapidly every day. San Francisco just was ordered a full shutdown, and so it's concerning to see that in our country, and who knows what's going to happen in the next couple of days when it comes to that. Curious as I think we had, there's 44 on, we were at 55 restaurants at one point on the webinar today. So it's a good number, I think. I don't see any more questions at this time. Know that you can email me, you can call me. My cell phone number 707-570-6324. Feel free to reach out to me at any time. My email, fred@restaurantsystempspro.net, the office line 877-457-6278. We want to be here for you. We want to serve you well and make sure that you're equipped to handle these unprecedented times. All right. Unless there's any more questions, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you, everybody. All right, Brittany, you go ahead and handle that. I want to make sure it's recorded.
All right, thank you. Bye, everyone. Be safe.
Bye, everybody.